Do you want to play?
Hey everyone, welcome back to Immediate Movie Reactions. I'm here after seeing Abigail, the new film from Matt Bettinelli open. This is a retelling of a 1930s era Dracula film, Dracula's Daughter specifically, though it's not a movie that I have actually seen. I just kind of saw it in the promos for it. And so I don't know how much or how faithful it is. I can't imagine, because this movie goes some really crazy places. And as far as the actual plot of the movie, I don't know that it matters. Basically, Catherine Newton and Kevin Durand and Giancarlo Esposito and a couple other people whose names you might recognize get hired to kidnap this young girl, to take her to a house and to hold her for ransom till the father pays, and they make their $50 million, and they all are there for their own reasons, and the general infighting, and what you would expect from sort of a crime Quentin Tarantino type film. However, from there everything goes wrong, as they luckily quickly realize that not everything is as it seems, and that the girl is the daughter of a crime boss who they start telling these urban stories, urban legends about, and realizing that, holy shit, we probably just fucked up, right? And what I like is that it doesn't take very long to really sell you on the idea that they're in over their heads. And, Alicia Weir, who plays Abigail, the eponymous Abigail in this, I think what's great is that sometimes you see these movies with kids, or you see, there's a star or whatever it is, the main focus of the film. If they're not likable, then the whole thing falls apart. And I think Alicia Weir does a very good job. She's menacing and kind of silly, but overall, it doesn't, even though there are some moments I think are funny, it doesn't become just sort of slapstick, silly, over the top, like a Megan. God, that was a terrible movie. So anyway, this is a movie that does hold it together. I think that there's a large section of this movie that is interesting, that's good, as she's hunting them around the house, as they realize that there's nothing that they can do. They're trapped in the house with her, and she is playing her own game. There are a lot of twists and turns that, not exactly plot twists, because they're pretty obvious. You know what's going to happen. And I think that that's where, for me, toward the end of the film, it did start to fall apart. I think the last, say, 25, 30 minutes, there's a lot of things that happen, man in the wall sort of things that, betrayals and turnings and all this other stuff that I thought was completely unnecessary. It does have a nice slow burn and then sets up some pretty brutal violence. Once it starts going, it does not hold back on the blood and on the gore, and that's fantastic. So I think that the main crew is 6 people, even though I may be getting that number wrong, and Abigail. So it doesn't seem like maybe there's going to be enough bloodshed, enough of a massacre, but they do a good enough job of making each one count. And I think that's what's important in a movie like this, is that they're kind of memorable. And it's hard because Abigail is obviously a monster, but you're also kind of rooting for her because she's kind of cool. And then the people are all kind of assholes. And of course that comes in, into play and ahead at the end of the movie. And that's, like I said, that's where it started to fall a bit short for me. However, I think it does hold together. There are some rules, like they established that if the vampire touches light, they basically explode. Violently gory. It was satisfying. But the problem is, even though they do a good job overnight of setting up the actual timeline, once it gets to daylight, sorry, spoiler alerts, they do make it to the daylight, there's like open windows and sunlight streaming in. At one point they're going down a hallway that's just like slatted wood, and they're trying to escape. Well, just break through the wood. Like, it's clearly not that strong, but they don't. And then next thing you know, it's night again, and she's able to hunt freely. And like, none of that made sense. Like, how did they spend, say, 12, 14 hours not trying to get out? So anyway, I guess we just don't need to think about that. Just kind of accept that this becomes a fun-ish monster movie with a lot of blood and gore, some likable characters, some good jobs from the actors. It looks good. It's fun. I think it is interesting. It starts out with Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake because, so you're right, she's a vampire ballerina, right? We've seen that all from the previews. And I guess that is the only song that is a ballet other than maybe Nutcracker. They could have done a little bit more with the music and the soundtrack and that. I wanted a little bit more also of her stalking around the house. The scampering got a little bit much. That got a little bit silly. But overall, it's serviceable. I would not rush out and see this, so see it, stream it, or skip it. If you like vampire movies, I was trying to think, like, what are some good vampire movies? Let the Right One In, obviously. A Girl Walks Home at Night, but those are I think different. Mostly we have some really shitty, terrible vampire movies, and I don't think that this is that. I don't think it's horrible. It's definitely not going in the pantheon of great vampire films. But it's definitely better than like a Buffy or a True Blood or a Twilight or whatever. So anyways, that's where I feel it. See it, stream it, or skip it. I think if you like monster movies, if you like vampires, go ahead and stream it when it comes out. Otherwise, especially if you don't like gore and you don't like monsters, then skip it. You're not going to miss anything if you don't see it. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate everyone. I hope you like the new intro. Please like, share, subscribe, and I will see you after the next movie.